Hello and welcome to JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. This is episode number 12, and we are going to be talking all about this today. And of course, this is the classic 1977 Flintstones Christmas special, the very first one, in fact, called A Flintstones Christmas. Now, let's get into it, okay? Now, again, this picture came out in 1977. I say picture, but it was the very first animated Flintstones TV holiday special, and again, it was released just in time for Christmas 1977. In fact, to be exact, the official release date for this was December 21st, 1977, and of course, it premiered on the ABC TV network, which was a big deal back in the day. Now, I might note it that as we sit here in 2025 and talk about this, that the Flintstones this year is celebrating their 65th anniversary. Can you believe it? So for any of you people that are the age of 65, just turning an official senior citizen, wow, you were there from day one. Like many people, I'm a huge Flintstones fan now. Again, as we sit here, the Flintstones today in 2025 celebrating 65 years. I cannot believe that. Um, and yet, the Flintstones originally premiered on TV. And again, what was amazing about the Flintstones was it takes place in like prehistoric, times. They live in bedrock, and Fred, the main character, Fred Flintstone, he works at a quarry where they make rocks and break up the rocks and all that. Um, they live they're not quite cave. Fred Flintstone's not quite a caveman. He may be like kind of post caveman, but in the prehistoric dinosaur time, and yet they live in kind of these stone like modern day houses. Got like a even though it's in the Stone Age, there's certain things we just don't question. I mean, they got like a TV. They got like a shower, but it's not your typical everyday shower and bath. I mean, they had like they get in the shower. You see Fred get in the shower, be like this elephant type of kind of shower, elephant trunk where they put it over like Fred and you'd be using the elephant trunk like to squirt the water out like a faucet. Um, and so they're just certain, and even though it's in prehistoric times, the Flintstones, like every Stone Age family, I guess, had a car. Not wasn't your typical kind of modern day car, the prehistoric type of car where the cars weren't really they didn't have engines or anything, so they weren't modern day cars. But you look at this thing that he was driving, and it's supposed to be a car, and yet I remember watching the Flintstones and just laughing because to get the car going, Fred has to like kick his feet and stuff. And if you've ever seen the Flintstones, you know what I'm talking about. But again, getting back to the Flintstones Christmas special, 1977's A Flintstones Christmas, and back then, of course, everybody had known the Flintstones from TV, but this was something that was premiering at night. It was a special holiday thing. I mean, we're seeing the Flintstones in their very first holiday special, so that makes it pretty special for no other reason. But now let's get into this. Okay, so of course it's from Hanna-Barbera Studios, who produced all the Flintstones and many other classic, cartoons from that time, like Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Magilla Gorilla, just to name a few. Let's see, Wally Gator. Those are some of the classic Hanna-Barbera characters from other cartoon shows at the time that Hanna-Barbera was putting out. But the Flintstones, I think, was the one that kind of started it all. So you got when we talk about the Flintstones, you got the lovable kind of Fred Flintstone. He's loud, he's crude, he's Knox, but he's a good guy. He's a decent guy. He works hard to support his family. And then you got Wilma, his loving wife. Um, you got their daughter Pebbles, who and Pebbles comes later in the original TV show. She's not there from the get go. Um, and so, actually, interestingly enough, talk about the history of the Flintstones. It's very interesting to note that Fred Flintstone and Wilma were like the very first married couple on TV that they actually showed on a TV show. Sleeping in the same bed. So that is kind of interesting. But get back to this Christmas special. Okay, a Flintstones Christmas, like I said, was the first holiday special in the Flintstone franchise. So that's kind of what made it stand out. Now, Alan Reed, who was the original voice of Fred Flintstone, was the voice of Fred Flintstone from 1960 until 1977 when this very film was released. So what I'm saying is go back and listen to those classic Flintstones cartoons that we all grew up on and know and love. And you can hear that voice of Alan Reed now. Pretty much people go, who the hell is Alan Reed? Well, like I said, Alan Reed's a guy, he's the original voice of Fred Flintstone. And why I bring this up is this Christmas special we're talking about, a Flintstone Christmas, very first time, because this film was made after the death of Alan Reed. And so here's a funny thing. They had to find a new voice to do Fred Flintstone because the guy that had done the voice of Fred Flintstone from the inception, starting in 1960 until 1977 when he died of lung cancer, he died right before this holiday special was made. And so again, what's interesting is as I'm doing the research for tonight's episode and I'm learning this, that's the thing with cartoons. How often do you really listen to the voice? You're so used to hearing these voices that you think, it's the same guy doing it. I mean, unless they put out a press release, saying that Alan Reed died and that they got a new voice for Fred Flintstone, I don't know that you'd even know. Because again, in watching this holiday special, as I did prepping for doing tonight's episode, I'd seen it before many years ago, but when I was a kid. But I recently got it on DVD here, and how cool is that? I mean, back in the day, 1977, when the holiday special first aired, you could only see it on TV, and then for years they would, every Christmas they would replay it on network TV. It doesn't happen. It's been years since it's been on network TV. You might catch it like on Cartoon Network or something every Christmas. But now many people like me got the DVD. You might have got it, on VHS or something like that back in the day. So that's a fun thing to do. Like I collect these things, and so I was able in my own living room to put this on and prep for tonight's show, and it was fun. I enjoyed watching it just as much as when I seen it for the very first time years ago when I was a kid. But again, getting back to the voice and why that's so important. Our ears kind of sometimes play tricks on us. What I mean is, unless you're really paying attention, you might not know that it's a different person doing the voice. It has that kind of Fred Flintstone-like voice that we've come to expect and know and love. And there's maybe some purists out there who can they've got a good trained ear and they can tell. Now, okay, so who did they get to take over? Who was the new Fred Flintstone, the voice of Fred Flintstone? Okay, well, I got that information for you. Okay, so here it goes. So it says, okay, yeah. So then in 1977, a Flintstones Christmas premieres on ABC on December 21st, 1977, and it is actually Henry Corden who it becomes a new voice of Fred Flintstone. Now, again, you listen to the voice of Fred Flintstone in A Flintstone Christmas. It sounds an awful lot like Fred Flintstone I've always known and heard. And although it's a different person, and maybe if you listen close enough, you can tell it's a different person. But he has that same kind of Fred Flintstone type of voice, and that's a thing. When you get these people that do that are the voice, the voice talent of these animated cartoons. I mean, it's such a some of them are so good at what they do that you really can't tell the difference. And again, talking about animation and cartoons is very different than talking about a movie being filmed. A movie's live action. Animation is made very differently. They're not live actors, in most cases, and so a lot of times we're watching what's taking place, on the TV screen or on the movie screen. In something like this. And so you're not necessarily worried too much about who's doing the voice, but that's a very interesting aspect of this movie that the guy that did the voice of Fred Flintstone for years, he died before this was made, so they had to get a new voice, and that could have gone one of two ways. It could have gone that they got somebody that just couldn't master the voice of Fred Flintstone, or but it sounded so drastically different that most people would be aware of it. Hey, that's something different. And then again, okay, do they take out a big press release um, and mention the fact that the original the person who did the original voice of Fred Flintstone, he's passed on, so we got somebody else. Um, that's a two-way street. But again, the guy that they got, Henry Corden. He sounded enough like Fred Flintstone that I think most people watching this film probably don't even know it was a different voice. He was that good. His talent as a voice actor, was that good. He convinced everybody that watched this that hey, that's Fred Flintstone. There was just no doubt about it, no question. That's how good of a voice actor this guy was. And so, talk a little more about this. So he replaced Alan Reed as the voice of Fred Flintstone from 1977 until his own death in 2005. Just think about that, okay? Wow. I'm not sure who's doing the voice of Fred Flintstone these days, but the Flintstones are a legendary kind of franchise. There's not a ton of new Flintstones cartoons that I'm aware of, but a lot of the stuff is the classic stuff. You see it on you even see it on YouTube. You see it on cable TV sometimes, like on Cartoon Network and stuff like that. People can go and buy the classic Flintstones, TV series and the different Flintstone movies they've had over years on DVD and Blu-ray. So that's one way of watching this. And as I said, that's exactly what I did. I'm in the Christmas mood. It's the Christmas holiday season, so I wanted to get some fun stuff to watch and talk about. So that's one reason I got this, and it was fun to watch. I hadn't seen it in years, and like a big kid, I enjoyed it just as much as the very first time I seen it. Now let's talk about some interesting facts about this film. So as far as the plot of the movie, obviously it's Christmas time, so there's a Christmas theme to this. But the theme is this: Fred's job loss in the Christmas special was an unusual storyline for the Flintstones. Now, first of all, most of us, when you watch a cartoon or something, you don't really want to get too depressed. You don't want to think too hard or too serious. You just want to enjoy what you're watching and having a good time. And so the fact that an animated classic franchise like the Flintstones would go to that extra length of like, okay, we're going to kind of we're going to tell a little kind of hard story here. And part of the plot was that Fred loses his job at the quarry. He's laid off right, what do you know, right before Christmas. And so Fred's main concern is he wants to still find a way to make sure that his family, Wilma and Pebbles, um, and him are able to at least still have a decent Christmas. And so again, we're watching, a classic animated cartoon franchise, the Flintstones, and poor Fred loses his job again. It's a cartoon, folks, but I can tell you from my own personal experience that when you're when you talk about a beloved character like Fred Flintstone, even though we know Fred Flintstone's not a real person, um, you know, there are people out there in the audience maybe watching it that they could relate to being laid off. Oh man, I know what that's like. I know that's and around Christmas time. So it's not just fun and games. A Flintstones Christmas special, just a upbeat, kind of bright and happy Christmas holiday special. I mean, the plot is poor man loses his job, and how are they going to have a nice Christmas? But they find a way, and Fred ends up getting his job back. But so that should be noted. Okay, and so the Flintstones, as I said, was created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera in the 1960s, and it premiered on TV on September 30th, 1960. So again, there's been a couple other Flintstones, holiday specials, and they've got a lot of animated movies. I mean, that you can get on DVD, Blu-ray, and stuff like that. I urge you guys to go and do this. Flintstones, I just love Fred. I mean, Fred Flintstone, he's kind of he's an even from though Flintstones is from the prehistoric time, dinosaur era. They live in these houses that are kind of modern day, yet they're made of stone. Um, the appliances are kind of funny. The stuff in the house, a car, a dishwasher. If you've ever seen the Flintstones, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the funny thing is, while Fred Flintstone is a kind of everyday man that most people can relate to, again, like I kind of been talking about, he's a hard worker, but he's loud, he's crude, sometimes he can be obnoxious. He doesn't mean to be, but that's just Fred's nature. And under it all, he's a pretty decent guy. He would never really hurt anybody, purposely. Then he's got his next door neighbor, Barney Rubble, kind of his best friend, maybe his only friend, but Fred and Barney hang out together. Fred, you could tell, is kind of the leader of the group. Barney kind of follows Fred, does everything Fred says, and they like most guys that hang out with one another, most buddies, they get in their little silly arguments. Most of the time, Fred's kind of bossing Barney around, taking advantage of Barney. Barney's kind of made to look like a bumbling idiot. Sometimes he is, but this is the nature of their relationship. And then you got Wilma, Fred's loving wife. She stays home, is a modern kind of Stone Age type of wife. Fred goes out and work. She stays home and takes care of the house. And then you have Wilma's best friend, Betty, who is Barney Rubble's wife, loving, devoted wife, and her and Wilma are best friends. Wilma, I think, is a little brighter than Betty, and she's kind of when they hang out, Wilma's kind of the brains of those two, but they're kind of even keel too. They don't really fight like Fred and Barney. They get along and they go and hang out and they do things together. And then you got when you get later into the Flintstones, they have Pebbles. Fred and Wilma have a baby daughter, Pebbles, and the Flintstones. We're talking about a franchise that's been around 65 years. So I can tell you, even when I was a kid, they eventually you kind of see Pebbles grow up in later episodes of the Flintstones. And of course, her and Bam Bam, they're best friends. They grow up, the houses next door to each other. Um, they eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend, and and that's kind of everybody was kind of involved in the Flintstone family and neighbors, and they all hang out. And then Pebbles is kind of got this sweet kind of little baby like voice. She's a baby, but even when we see her start to grow up, some of the later episodes, she's still got like she's a like even when we see her as a teenager, she's still got like a little baby kind of girl, sexy type of voice. Bam Bam from Bam Bam is actually um, Barney and Betty adopt Bam Bam. He's not their natural son, but they love him just as much as if he was. They treat him, like he's their son. He's their adopted son. And Bam Bam gets the name Bam Bam because all we ever hear Bam Bam do is bam 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 bam, and he has a little club that he bangs all around and makes a ton of noise with, and Bam Bam is supposed to. And throughout many of the episodes, I'll tell you, Bam Bam is the strongest kid in the world. And from everything we've seen in Flintstones, that's kind of true. And so that is who the Flintstones are. They've been a big part. Well, um, they've been a big part of my 54-year-old life, And so, like I said, the Flintstones have been around just a little longer than me, but I've been watching the Flintstones when I was a kid, and even in prepping for tonight's episode and watching this, I got to tell you, I loved it just as much as the first time I'd seen it. Flintstones, it's one of those things I never get tired of. Now, of course, I got to mention Dino, the Flintstones Stone Age kind of dog type pet. Just loves Fred to death, and every time Fred comes home from work or just enters the house, Dino goes woo, and he knocks him down and all that. And so the another thing I say about the Flintstones, I always loved the theme song. Every time I'd watch it on TV, every, every episode is starting, I just start breaking out into the theme song. That was one of my favorite things about watching the show. I always loved that theme song, man. It would really get you going. Very much like every time I used to watch the classic 1960s era Batman show starring Adam West and Burt Ward. I remember the beginning of every episode, Batman, and then as Batman would be ending, I remember I would be repeating, the narrator. Tune in next time to the same bat channel, same bat time. These things become a part of our life. The theme songs to these TV shows, and like I said, the Flintstones. Man, 65 years. I can't. They've been around longer than me, and yet I still love the Flintstones just as much as ever. So I hope you've enjoyed us looking back on the Flintstone Christmas. And again, this dates back to 1977. And what made it so special was the very first Flintstones Christmas special. So if you haven't seen it, or it's been a while since you've seen this film, go out and find a way to watch it. I bet you might even be able to find it on YouTube. But if not, just hey, this cost me. I think I spent $6.99. I got it on Amazon, so it's not that much, folks. And I know some of you may be saying, well, don't have a DVD player. We don't have Blu-ray anymore. I can't believe how many people tell me that, but I am obviously an old school guy. I enjoy collecting the stuff. I enjoy watching it. So I'm going to keep doing it until I can. I hope they never stop making, DVDs and Blu-rays, but who knows what the next form of technology is, but I'm sure they'll have something, right? Like another 5 years from now. So let's see. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I mean, we're literally 7 days from Christmas, folks. 1 week from tonight, which is Thursday, December 18th. We're literally a week away from Christmas Day. So there's that. And I am Jason JRock Houston, and you have been watching episode 12 of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And a few days from now, I can't wait because we're going to have another Christmas special. So please tune in for episode 13 when we're going to be talking about the classic Christmas special, Frosty the Snowman. That's going to be a ton of fun, folks. So again, I'm going to keep pumping these special episodes out until Christmas comes, and then we're going to have a lot more fun episodes. But hey, they're all fun, right? So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. And please, once again, do yourself a favor and subscribe to both our official YouTube page and the official JRock's Babylon Facebook page. Now you do that, and what you'll get is anytime we post a new episode or something, you'll be notified. So thanks for doing that, and it's been my pleasure to entertain you. Have a great day. See you all again real soon. Bye for now.